Kolluri to their talk, our international graduate student review. Uh, Meenakshi applied through York through CIP. She is from Hyderabad and she's currently working. She's from accounting background and she's currently working. What is your position, Meenakshi?
So it's actually a really interesting position. So I used to work as a tax accountant, and now I'm working with Intuit as a program analyst. So where the software developers are developing the application, I would be doing the testing for them.
That's interesting. So very interesting transition. So welcome and congratulations. You received your invitation to apply and you are probably a few weeks or maybe months away from your PR. You had a very high, Meenakshi had work experience back home. She had 8,777 in her IELTS and she was just short. Her score was 486. Before, I think you were about 470, right, Meenakshi?
Correct. That's right.
Yeah. So she came to Canada. She studied 1 year postgraduate certificate program in York University, and that gave her additional 15 points. And immediately after graduation, she was eligible. Her score increased to 486, and she received an invitation to apply for PR. And she is here with PR. So congratulations. So how was your journey with CIP? How did you find about CIP, and how was your journey with us?
I did have a few friends who came to Canada using CIP, so it was recommended by them, and I honestly have no regrets choosing CIP. You guys were absolutely very helpful with the entire process, start to end, right from searching for my university up until landing to Canada, and everybody was always approachable and over the phone or just a call away, which is very important when you're doing such a tedious process, because it takes so many months and so much effort into getting everything done. So everybody was very, very helpful through the process.
Thank you very much. So, how do you find Canada, right? You lived in India. Have you traveled previously? Like, were you in the US? You had a visitor visa, you mentioned.
No. I haven't traveled internationally.
You never traveled. So, coming from a very typical middle-class Telugu family, right? Coming to the US, to Canada, how was your journey, right? Like, what do you feel about Canada? Was it the right choice you made?
I am from Hyderabad, which is a beautiful, amazing city. But Toronto is something that I chose for myself, and I feel very happy to be here. There are certain differences which I prefer in Hyderabad, and there are a lot more things that I do prefer in Toronto. So it's been great. You feel safer at night, even if you're traveling alone. You make a great set of friend circle. You learn to live independently, and you just this transition has helped me become an adult in a very good way. So I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I've received.
Yeah, and how about Canada in general, right? Was it a correct decision you made coming to Canada?
Yeah, so far I have no regrets, and I would definitely encourage everybody else to make the right decision for them.
Yes, Toronto is interesting for young guys, but personally, if you have families, please try to move away from Toronto. It's very expensive, and yes, as any big cities, there are issues. There's housing issues. There's expensive, and they also have you will find homeless people, drug addicts, and just like in New York or any other big city.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no country which is heaven on earth. You basically have to work hard to ensure that you are successful. So, but it's an interesting place. It's so much of fun. It's a huge city, right? So much of energy. I mean, it's definitely not New York, but for us, it is a gift. So how was your journey as a student, right? How did you manage your studies? Were you able to find a part-time job?
Yes. So I came in May 2022. So honestly, it was a great time to come, if you ask me, because you leave summer in India and you're coming to a colder country, but summer just started in Canada. So the transition itself, weather-wise, personally, in my opinion, coming in May was the best decision for me.
I agree with you. I definitely many part-time jobs coming in because, summer vacations and things, pretty
Yes,
weather is absolutely perfect. You are escaping the Indian
summer.
weather, coming to, it's still not cold, but it is still not very hot. But it's a beautiful time to come for main take. So definitely, yes, it's a right choice. Yes, yeah.
Yes. And through some friends, I was able to get a good part-time job. Well, it's not that difficult to get a part-time job, but when you restrict yourself that I don't want to do this, that makes it difficult. There's a lot of dignity of labor in Canada, so you have to ensure what's more important. You putting your food on the table by yourself, or putting your ego that you would not be doing certain kinds of jobs. But if you put all those restricted mindset back in your home country, then you'll definitely have a very satisfying student life in Canada.
And what was your part-time job,
So I
Meenakshi?
used to work as a transcriptionist for a company called LXT.
Okay, that's good. So, what was the most, there's always good things we can talk, but I just want to educate all the people, prospective international students, and understand the most difficult challenges you will have in Canada.
The first main challenge would be to adjust your mindset. And it is difficult for you to make friends out of the same ethnic group that you come from. But I would strongly encourage people to try to put down those barriers and communicate with as many people as you can, because you tend to learn from others' experiences more than your own. So sometimes you just don't have to commit the same mistakes that somebody else did.
Meenakshi, I'm surprised, so much of wisdom in such a young girl. It's such a pleasure listening to you. Yeah, so very true. Well said. Yes, the more you talk, the more you learn. There's a saying in Russian which is "Vek be vekuchi." So we live for 100 years, but we still learn for 100 years. Every day is a learning. And well said. Yes. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
And I would like to continue what you said, sir. It's very important to keep learning, because if you just stop learning for one day, you might be out of date. Like you're obsolete. You're no longer useful for somebody else. So you have to keep updating yourself, your education or career wise. You have to be smart about it. If you think like how everybody else is thinking, you'll just remain at that mediocre level. You have to think how could you differentiate yourself. So that would definitely put you a step ahead of everybody else. Any other difficulties that I would face would mainly be to learn how to navigate through the city. But every city has its own public transport. But if you guys are choosing a bigger metro city, then Canada has great public transport. You guys will not regret it. But I would just recommend to have something to protect yourself. If you never know. You just never know. The city is safe, but it's always good to be on your guard.
Yeah, at least, things have changed in big cities, but personally, I live in Cambridge, which is only 50 minutes from Toronto, and our office is in Toronto. We work from home, most of us. Sometimes we go to the office, but again, we started online even before the COVID. So, but it's good. So, job part, right? How was your study in York University before getting into the job part?
It was interesting because my course, we only had classes 4 days a week, Monday to Thursday, and we only had 3 hours per day in the evening. So that was really interesting because I still have my entire day, 9 to 5, to do whatever job that I want to do. So York University gave me that flexibility as well. The course itself was easy to handle. It was broken down into different subjects, and I was only dealing with 2 subjects at a time. So it was much more smoother than having to juggle 6 or 7 subjects in each semester. So it was a very interesting curriculum that we had.
We love working with York University. York is one of our top partners universities. It is such a pleasure studying. Now they have a new campus building separate for the School of Continuing Studies, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure if you visited it, but they have a new campus.
I used to stay just in the York Village, so just 2 minutes walk from the university. So that's an amazing building.
That's a new amazing building as well. So yeah, and York, it's the School of Professional Studies, Continuing Studies. It is put in mind not to get back to you like school from 9 to 5, but it's very easy schedule studying, one subject at a time and one course at a time. And it's like 3 to 4 hours every day, right?
Yes.
So great. York has many programs in business, in IT, and, in accounting. So, so getting back to, after your studies, interesting transition. Right. I know a lot of our Indian students, especially from South India, we all transit to IT. So how did that happen?
So I just did a 1-year course in York University in my advanced financial accounting. I finished my course in January, and from January up until May, I was supporting Deloitte Canada for the tax season. I was able to get this job in Deloitte Canada based on my previous experience from Deloitte. Once that contract was over, job search can be a little tricky in Canada. It's not something that you'll get it right away, but you just need to hang in there, keep applying for the right jobs, and be consistent about it. And then I applied for this company that I'm working for right now, Intuit Canada, and the requirement for the job was like they only wanted someone who had previous tax experience, so we could help them into programming this software, the tools that they use, like QuickBooks or Tax Prep or Caseware. So I consider myself very fortunate for being able to actually get the job that I applied for.
Oh, that's nice. So how long did it take? When did you get your job in Deloitte? Immediately after graduation, or how was it?
I received the offer back in November when I was still studying.
That's interesting. So November 22, while you were still studying.
Yes. And I started it right after I finished my studies. So it was a perfect timing.
That is nice. See, work experience really matters. There are a lot of people who complain there are no jobs in Canada. It is not true. Every day I talk to CIP students, and I was just posting in the group as well. There are jobs here in Canada. Your skill set is very important. If you have the work experience, things will definitely work out. And, my advice, please make sure that you have work experience. Freshers are at a big disadvantage because in the point-based system, you get points for your overseas or Indian work experience. Undergraduate students, huge disadvantage. You will not get your PR without a PNP option. So please make sure that you are understanding all this before you embark on your journey. There are a lot of sub-agents in India who have no clue what they are doing. And please educate yourself like Meenakshi did. She already knew about express entry. She was already in the pool. It's a very easy process. It's not rocket science. So don't be scammed by, there are so many agencies out there, Z-Axis, Double Inters, Houston Reviews, Texas, or all those. They will rip you off by taking money, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees, but it's an easy process. We will help you. If you really need M and RCIC will help you, but please educate yourself. And very important for freshers, please have at least 1 year work experience before you come to Canada. If you have the work experience, it will help you with your PR, and it will also help with finding a job, just like Meenakshi, right?
Yes, I completely agree. I'm saying this not just because I did it that way. I know my co-classmates who came along with me in the same semester, and there is significant difference in the success process between those who came with previous experience from India as opposed to someone who's a fresher. Having previous experience from India definitely gives you a little advantage in getting a job in Canada, because it shows the employers that yes, this person has previously done something and he or she is able to prove themselves here as well. So I would strongly recommend having at least 1 or 2 years of experience before coming to Canada.
That is good. So, well, what would be your advice to all the prospective students, especially, non-IT? It's non-IT. Canada is a great option because in the US, in UK, it's very difficult to get settlement. So non-IT professionals, it's a great option, guys. Canada, if you are properly educated and planning, things will be fine. So what would be your last advice to all the prospective students who are considering Canada?
My last advice would be, don't take your process as one step at a time, like study permit, work permit, PR. That's not how it is. Your thought process is supposed to be, how do I get my PR if that is your end goal? How do I make sure that my stay in Canada is secured, not just for 1 or 2 years or 3 years, for the longer run? If you put your PR in your mind, then you would plan your journey in a way that, getting your PR is more right. So you can make a choice for yourself. Do you want to do a 1 year course? Do you want to do a 2 year course? If you don't have previous experience, maybe you want to consider doing a master's program so you could get a PNP through the province. So put that as your goal and then plan everything before and then make the action. My dad just says one thing: you can make 100 plans on a paper, and it's fine. But when you're executing, execute the right one. So
That is true. Well said. Yeah. Cheers to your dad. Well, thank you very much, Meenakshi, finding time, ad hoc. Again, we don't really plan these meetings. One of
yes.
our CRP students joins and we just ask them if they're comfortable to do it. And again, sorry for such a short notice. I know, it's not easy, but thank you very much again. And congratulations for all your achievements from your study visa to your PR. And, it's a pleasure to be a part of your dream come true, of your journey to Canada. Thanks again for choosing CIP.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, CIP, for everything.